Good afternoon, morning, afternoon. I come from New York, so lost on the timing. Welcome everyone. Great to see you here today. My name's Carter Murray. I'm the new chairman of Vision Marine. So this is actually my first presentation. So Q&A can be ruthless. Obviously, I want to start with some disclaimers that we need to make. The forecasting and what you're going to see today. Vision Marine's mission is to disrupt the traditional boating industry, transforming the boating experience through electric power. I think what's also important when we think about it from an investment perspective is it's an important ESG company when it comes to the water. And there's lots of different ways that we're doing it. We're thinking about how we don't just provide a better boating experience, but we do that better boating experience helping preserve the clean waterways that people are in. But it's an enormous opportunity. We are one of the catalysts that are trying to move the boating industry from gas to electric. We're thinking about ownership and moving it across to membership. And we're even looking at hulls, how to go from new hulls to recycled hulls. So every proof point of this company is about trying to make sure that we deliver against that. The size of the market opportunity that we've identified is about a $17 billion marketplace. And we think we're positioned to win in quite a significant way. And there's really two main pieces of this business. The first is the boat engine market. It's a $12 billion marketplace. Today, it's almost exclusively in gas engines. And we have first mover advantage moving to electric engines. The second business is a rental business that we have. Actually, if you have time to go to Newport after Vegas, why not? We have a very successful, proven rental operation business that we've been testing and piloting for the last 3 years that I'll talk briefly to you about. But in both of these markets, we think we have considerable opportunities from both our product perspective and our brand perspective. I think the most important thing from an investor perspective is looking for those opportunities where there's a seismic shift in an industry and a marketplace. And what we see is a complete electric transition is underway for recreational transportation. I think we've all seen it in the car business. It's well on its way from gas to electric. And the boat industry is just 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years behind. But what we are seeing is in the boat business, the entire industry right now is in gas, and it's all about transition across into electric. And when you look at who's in the electric space, we consider ourselves to be the leading electric engine company. And, you know, we all know the proof points. EU committing to all electric, car companies like GM committing to all electric, Group Beneteau, one of the largest and most prestigious boat manufacturers, committing to all electric as well over the next 10, 15, 20 years. And so destiny is pretty clear for the industry. And what we're seeing is that Vision Marine is really in the forefront of that. And I want to talk to you a bit about why we believe we have the product leadership and the position to be successful in this marketplace. It's also quite important, I think, to think about this transition. I mean, I'm sure you all know the adoption curve when there's transitions in industries and new people coming in. We are just at the beginning where we're going after the innovators and the early adopters. But as we lead here, which you'll see in a second, and you go into the mainstream market, we believe that we're poised for substantial growth in the future. So there's really 5 key strategies to win in this industry moving across that we want to take the lion's share of market if we can. The first is having the best product in the marketplace. And I think that's incredibly important. We have the most trusted product in the marketplace with the big boat manufacturers. The right leadership. We have a CEO who's not here today because he's up at 4 in the morning in Newport, getting ready to showcase the boats, getting ready to be with the boat manufacturers, getting ready to showcase the product. A complete visionary, but also a workaholic, which is one of the reasons I came on board. I was in an investor meeting the other day and someone said to me, we backed the jockey. I was actually a podcast and someone said, we backed the jockey. Well, I backed the jockey, which is Alex, who's the CEO, who really is a visionary person in this space. We also, and I think this is hugely important in electric, because there's a lot of people making promises and coming up with these sort of trinket engines. And what we're trying to do is something that's built to scale. This wave of gas engines moving to electric is coming. And so everything we do has been to make sure that we are building everything we do for scale so we can ramp up our revenues when the demand builds up. We also have been working on proprietary battery and tech. And this is hugely important, we have unique boat manufacturer relationships. So unlike Tesla and going against automotive companies in direct competition, we're in this unique situation where the boat manufacturers need our electric engines. So we don't see the major boat manufacturers, these multi-billion-dollar major boat manufacturers, as competition. We see them as partners. So the opportunity to grow is not in competition, but in partnership, which is quite unique when you think about the opportunity when you're talking about a market of several billion dollars. So just talking to that a bit more, I think it's really important because this is a massive competitive advantage for us. We're uniquely positioned with those large engine manufacturers. And there's really 4 or 5 things that are there. One is that we're a one-stop shop. So if you're a multi-billion-dollar boat manufacturer today, you have to go to someone for the engine, for the battery, putting the pieces together. We're the one-stop shop where we do a fully integrated powertrain, which means we've been able to build much faster and much more comprehensive relationships with them. And as they develop new hulls to sell, we're partnering with them with the development of them doing that. I think this is also interesting for the medium to long term, but not right now, but it's interesting for them. Because of our powertrain technology, and we also do the software, we get access to data for them that perhaps they've never had before, that we intend to use for other purposes in the future. We also bring, and this is hugely important when we talk about barriers to entry, real innovation technology brand halo to the boat brands. So if you think about it, traditional boat brands, gas engines, you think about the environment, there are some challenges. Because we're known as the leader in innovation, and I'll talk about that in a second, and we're known as the technology lead, there's a brand halo to Vision Marine. So what we found for 1 or 2 boat manufacturers, when they speak to young talent and they want to bring them in, and they speak to investors, and they start saying that they are working with us, it shows that they're looking to the future with innovation and technology. And this is, again, cannot be undersold. It's a multi-billion-dollar decision how we're going to move this entire boat business into electric. And Alex, the CEO, has deep, deep relationships with some of the top boat manufacturers in the world, so that as they transition, they're looking to us as their trusted partner. And so just to give you a flavor when you're trying to lead a wave of change like this, there are very strong rooted values. And if any of you ever want to go and learn more about the company, you'll see them firsthand. Innovation. Every single employee is pushed to think differently every single day and show that in results. There is a maniacal customer focus, because if we win with the boat manufacturers, we only need to capture a small percent share to become a very, very large player. And then in this space, I'm sure you've all seen lots of electric, solar presentations, renewable energy. I think the delivery is as important as the promise. And so one of the values of the company is to deliver, 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 deliver. And then the final bit, which I'm absolutely love, which again, you have to see from the founder on, is a passion to win. There is an absolute hunger in this organization to win. And Alex, one of the things that impressed me when I came on board is he said, we've got to change the perception of electric. It can't just be, we're going to do 5, 10, 50 mile an hour engines. We're going to break the electric outboard engine speed record. He did it by 30 miles an hour, broke the record by 30 miles an hour. And this passion to win set a record of 109 miles an hour in electric. So these are powerful engines. Also important to say is that Alex actually started his passion for boating in boat racing. And so when you think about the brand coming from a premium place of boat racing into the mainstream market, that drive to win goes throughout the organization. So when he says, I'm going to win an electric, when he says, my dream one day is to walk down into the marina and see every second engine as a Vision Marine, he really believes he can make it happen. I think another important question, and sort of preempting Q&A about barriers to entry. This company has been working on this for quite a long time. And I think there's about $20 million of development that's gone into it in all sorts of different ways. When we talk about investment in the tech, in man hours, we've got countless research, and also, most importantly, I think 10,000 hours of testing. We actually would like 1 or 2 of the large gas engine manufacturers to come in, because we think it'll legitimize the space even further. But what we're doing right now is we are the first mover with the first mover advantage in the space. So this is our powertrain. And again, what you have here is a much more integrated system than probably anyone else you can think of in the marketplace. We started with a 180 horsepower engine because that's the core market. There's about over 300,000 outboard engines sold per year, and that's the core market. And we have patent pending technology from the batteries to the engine to the software. Alex is actually hesitant on some of the patent filings because we don't want to reveal too much about the integrated systems, but it is a proprietary system, and we also have a team that are constantly every day evolving it. Just so you know about the system, it fully charges overnight with no additional infrastructure, which again is built into the system, and a smart, integrated, secure, complete HV powertrain. So that it's pretty unique in the market. And in terms of product leadership, again, with a multi-billion-dollar business moving from the left into electric, this is the player when it comes to performance that I think is going to win, that we hope is going to win, that we believe is going to win. And we're seeing some good early traction. Now, this slide is always contentious. This is a bit like when you lease a car and they show you all the different lease deals. But this is very interesting. If you start looking at 6 years of ownership, not only is, I think, this a better boating experience, you can go at lower revolutions, it's cleaner, better torque, there's lots of benefits of electric, depending on how you do it. But if you look at the maintenance and the gas and the formulas that we put in, we believe it's cheaper to actually own the electric engine than the gas engine over a period of 6 years. Again, very quickly, it is important to point this out. This isn't just an R&D. This is actually much further advanced than that. We've actually partnered with Linmar and McLaren to be able to scale with all our manufacturing so that when the orders come in, we can do it at speed. And that helps mitigate the supply chain bottlenecks. So more than 90% of our components are sourced in North America, which is also a question that comes up from time to time. And McLaren has productive capacity to produce 18,000 of these per year. 18,000. So we also have in the battery packs, that's something that, as you know, in electric is as important as the engines, is that you have great durability on the battery and performance. And Vision Marine's worked with both Neogy and Octillion on having very proprietary battery pack packaging and performance that actually no one else has in the market. So we have 10 years developing proprietary marine software, battery cells. We have custom design marine packs that are done for each boat, and then we work with the boat manufacturers on their new boats, how to do the weighting, how to place the battery, how to make sure that you get the maximum performance. And again, we've built this for scale. So Octillion has a production capacity of 10,000 per day. In terms of the team, this is Alex, who again is not here. I joined because of Alex, backing the jockey. He's an extraordinary guy. He genuinely has a vision for the business. Every time he sees a problem, he innovates and transforms it. I've never met with someone with more energy. You just need to go to a boat show and walk around, and you'll see that he is considered the innovator in the business. Everyone goes to him for advice. Everyone goes to him for his point of view. So we don't just have the product, we also have the thought leader in electric and boating. We have Xavier, and I think this is really important. He's a very, very important key to the team because he's brought the track record for innovation and design and has a global reputation for excellence in products, having done some amazing work at his time at Renault. And then I'm afraid you got stuck with me too. My background is I used to run a global advertising agency of about 8,000 people that we took from last to first place in advertising, working with different companies from around the world. So I've got quite a lot of experience scaling businesses and working across industries. And I was really brought in to try and help make sure that we scale this in the right way and support Alex and the team as we take this to the next level. So in terms of generating sales, we've got a clear approach to generating sales. We've gone for the core outboard engine market, 18 to 28 feet. It's the largest sector in the outboard market. 180 horsepower seems to be like a sweet spot, so we thought let's crush it in the main place. And we've been working on custom hulls in partnership with Beneteau, and we've already got these engines and these new boats showcased with our partners in boat shows in Europe and in the US, and we've started to accept orders, and their orders starting to come in. This is where it gets, I think, quite exciting from an investor perspective. For every 100 engines and powertrains we sell, we get $10 million in sales, right? And the entire industry over the next 10, 15 years, 300,000 is going to move into this space, and we sell 100 and we get to 10 million in sales. And we're expecting, with our first initial sales, to be cash flow positive at the end of 2024. So we're currently in phase 2, entering phase 3. We've completed our, going to one of the world's top manufacturers and partnering with them on new hulls, how to make this electric a reality. We're now at the stage with the leadership we have where we have other boat manufacturers proactively coming to us, and we have to choose who are the ones, which are the hulls, which are the best people to work with to roll this out successfully. And we now also have multiple OEMs, as I said. OEMs is the lingo for boat manufacturers. And we're very visible now. If you go to Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Newport, we're very visible at the boat shows. And then our phase 3 is going to be kicking in next year, where we have engine orders with hopefully 3 OEMs, and we're hoping to be cash flow positive by the end of the year. And phase 4 is then kicking off with the sales that we want. I just want to take 2 minutes to talk about another division where you're going to hear more about in the coming months, because I think it's really important. There are 2 divisions to electrifying the waterways. We've also been testing for 3 years in Newport these boats. And it's basically a distinctive brand, a unique boat and design construction, all electric, and it's proprietary customized software. And we see it as a hugely scalable opportunity. So there's about 8,000 marinas and 10,000 waterfront marinas around the world. They've been using Newport Beach as a proof of concept. 300,000 people have gone through this in the last 3 years. And there's been a 4 million annualized revenue at a 40% margin. It's a hugely profitable business and a proven concept that we think we can take to many, many destinations around the world. We're currently rolling out in 2 further locations, and then there's a plan coming out against that to accelerate growth going into next year. So we actually have a profitable division already up and running, and then we have the powertrains that are about to come up and running. So 2023 was an investment in the powertrain and the R&D. 24 was about cash flow positive, trying to get there by the end of the year, delivering on the promise of the product. We hope to have 2 profitable and growing divisions going into 2025. And hopefully from everything that you've seen, the company has been built from the ground up for scale, so that when this tidal wave of moving from gas to electric that we've seen in the automotive business hits, we're poised to win significant share. I just thought it was interesting to try and visualize it. I think what's important to know is that we've had the boat rental business is going to be accelerated next year through a plan that we'll probably be sharing in a few months' time. But the powertrain business has been an R&D. But once that kicks in, what we're going to see is a much accelerated path to profitability, but a hopefully very, very profitable business. And equally, I think what we've seen in sales, when you start seeing 100 powertrain sales, you're also going to see an acceleration of the revenue once we kick in. So right now, there's a typo on there. 40. We're currently a $45 million market cap company with all that investment, all that set up for scale. And we think we're positioned to win in a $12 billion marketplace. And that happens because of this obsession with technology, innovation, having a team that delivers, having the right relationships in the space, and having a first mover advantage with the products, which we believe very strongly in. Both in the electric powertrains, where we are the leading solution right now, we believe in that market, but also with this product, which you're going to see more about in the rentals, which is actually an off-the-shelf product that we can actually roll out at scale as well to needs around the world. So we believe we have the right team, we have a leading products, and we have a clear plan, which is quite exciting for us as a company. So thank you for your patience. And do you have any questions? I'm sorry. No, it's a great question. So all the technology is done to be secure. And I mean, there's electric in boats today, right? So that's all done. Our powertrain, that's one of the advantages of our powertrain. The whole thing is built in, so it's plug and play. You literally just show up at your house, you show up at your marina, and you have a cable and you plug it in and you charge it up. So I think that where it's going to get even more interesting is when you start doing the high-speed power chargers where you can charge it up in 20 minutes. And I think in the future, the same way as you've seen with Tesla, that's going to arrive. in marinas at some point fairly soon. Yeah, it's amazing. It's exactly. We have this, the team, the R&D team we have is extraordinary. So they've built, that's the advantage of having the whole powertrain as opposed to just the engine. So it's all built in the powertrain, so you just plug and play. So if you take, it depends on the speed, it depends on the engine. But if you look at, for what we're starting with, which is lakes and rivers and waterways, we both normally use it for about 12 miles, a boat. That at 20 miles an hour lasts for about 40 miles. So if you're going at a reasonable speed and you're pottering around, you've got plenty of time. I think where the challenge becomes is if you go deep sea fishing, like we were talking about earlier, and you're trying to go away at, and you're trying to boat with 3 engines flat out for 6 hours. That's, the product is not for that. But because, yeah, so if you're on a lake and you want to go and do that, again, if 12 miles, we think it's at 20 miles an hour, it's got a range of about 40. So that's why 180 horsepower engine, that's why we went for that space. And I think there's 300,000 engines sold a year. We're not going for the 100,000, it's more for the core 50, 100,000 in that space we're in. And what's interesting is that 180 horsepower space is also the fastest growing space in the sector. So, we're doing on time. 1 second, hold on. How are we doing on time? We good? Okay, sorry.
Have need the billing system, right? Marina right now uses our shore berth without expecting you to take all the electricity away. So now when you plug this in, the charge is more.
No, the way marina, it depends from marina to marina, but normally when you go to marina, they charge you for the water and the power and the dockage, and sometimes it's included. So I think that really will vary from a marina to marina. Normally you pay for the power, the water, and the dockage. Yeah. But it's a fair question. Yes, sir. You want me to take it? Yeah. Well, there's 2 or 3 questions within there, so I love all of them. So we've got the orders coming in. We feel we've got the cash reserves to have cash in the bank after going cash flow positive. We're very confident with the funding that we have, so we're not really looking for any more funding. We're actually now focusing on the sales because we're now trying to work out we have a lot of people approaching us, so we're trying to work out how to do that. That's given us favorable terms to negotiate on how much has to be put down in deposit. So funnily enough, one of the positive things that we've discovered is that we can take much higher deposits than we planned for when we originally started, because people need these. And you can imagine if you're a boat manufacturer and you have to have an electric product, and this is the leading product, we are now having people coming to us for the demand generation. So we're actually feeling pretty good that it's self-financed through the deposits that we get on the engines. The margin is a really interesting question. So the margin obviously goes up with scale, and we hope to be cash flow positive by the end of next year. Once we get to, I don't want to give projections, so I have to be a little bit careful about that, but I can tell you in the existing rental business, I'm quite comfortable saying that that's a 40% margin business. And we would expect the powertrain business to be equally profitable at some point in the future once we get to the scale that we're looking for. But again, when there's 300,000 engines, and I can tell you that with 100 engines sold, we will be cash flow positive. You can imagine that this is an incredibly positive cash flow business.
Having a whole powertrain system. That powertrain partners with companies and bring the data. No one in the marketplace that has find and develop our own data, specifically to fit in, whether it's a or a console. So it's all based off our engineering. We got the supply agreement set up. Anything of the motor itself, whether it's per unit or the.
Just to close one last point, I think because it's built to scale with all these partners that we've had, like McLaren Engineering, we've been able to do some, I think, quite good forecasting on what we think our profitability will be as we scale up. But obviously, I don't want to talk about that today for obvious reasons.
And that's a great point. McLaren Engineering, which is the division of got 6 facilities